Turns out her, like, slave master thingamadude, he wasn't telling her the truth. Things happen. He ends up dead. Whoops. These edges are sharp, okay? Ow. Ow, ow, ow. Not just where are we, when are we? That had me confused. So I was trying to get a hold of the Serpent and the Wings of Night. That's what it's called? Yeah, that's what it's called. I had to look it up, okay. I was trying to get hold of that. They have book 1 and 2 at the library, or so they say. Or so they say. So I should say they had book 1. Someone lost it. Someone fully lost it, and the libraries had to reorder it. Only it was supposed to arrive like 3 weeks ago, and it's still not here. So I guess I'm not gonna get that anytime soon. Yeah, the book number 2 is readily available, but I feel like you need to read book 1 first, don't you? Yeah. Anyway, so because of that, I noticed Carissa Broadbent had written a different series. This one. So I found book 1, Daughter of No Worlds. I'm waiting for the rest of this series, the book 2 and 3. So this one is a slow one. It's a slow book throughout, but I feel like that's because of its world building and all of that thingamajig, getting to know the characters and whatnot. I'm hoping book 2 and 3 picks up and it ends with a bang. That's not to say I thought this was bad, it was just a little slow. So we start with Tasana. Tasana is our main little girlie. She is, well, she's a slave. We get very, very brief, like before she was a slave and all that, very, very brief. And now she's been a slave for, I want to say most of her life, but honestly, who knows at this point? Probably. She's a slave. She's just trying to save up enough coin to buy her own freedom. And as we start, we see her, well, trying to buy her freedom. Turns out her, like, slave master thingamadude, he wasn't telling her the truth of letting her buy her freedom part. So things happen. He ends up dead. Whoops. And now Tasana is kind of, she's on the run. However, she had this plan of when she had bought her freedom, she would go to a place and some people like called, what was it called? The Order. That's kind of what she does. See, she gets to the place, it's called something, I forget, but where the Order is. So the Order is basically this most powerful organization of magic. And that's basically what's what. But to get into the Order, she must first complete apprenticeships and whatnot. Only all the apprenticeships have sailed. Basically everyone is full up. But there's this guy who lives like on the outskirts of everything. Basically he wants nothing to do with the Order, but he's still kind of a part of the Order. So basically he has to take her in. Yeah, there's a whole backstory of why he doesn't like the Order, why he doesn't want to be part of it and all that, and we find that out later. It's a whole big thing. I'm not gonna lie, it's a whole big thing. The Order may not be as good as we first assume it to be. They may have ulterior motives and stuff. I really liked it. It's slow, but slow in a good way, I feel. It is a hefty book. It's about almost 500 pages. I did hit my face with it a couple of times. That was fun. These edges are sharp, okay? Ow. Ow, ow, ow. Yeah, I'm very excited to pick up book number 2. I think the reservation had come in, so I can pick that up. Yeah. The only thing though with these books, at least with this one, so I have book 3 as well. That's actually the first one I got a hold of, funnily enough. But there's not like a lot of time to borrow them. I mean, I've had this just for a week and I need to return it. What's with these very, very low numbers, okay? We need more time to read these chunky books. I mean, yes, okay, yes, I read fast, but still, I don't want to be stressed about it. I only read fast when I have the time to read fast. Like, you can return this book in like 6 weeks, yes, then I will read it in a day. But still, okay, I'm just going on. Yeah, these lending times for the library don't make any sense whatsoever. So yeah, I'm gonna go pick up book number 2 and read that one so I can read book number 3, because I think that one needs to go in next week as well. Yeah. Anyway, bye. It's just big damn glare. So book number 2, Children of Fallen Gods, a title. Every time I've thought about it, I kept thinking it's called something different. Anyway, in this book number 2, we get more perspective. So we have Tisana and Max from book 1, and in this one we have more. I'm on a side note, I'm glad they wrote it this way, because it's a bit like Throne of Glass, where you first get just the one perspective, but then as the books go on you get more added on, and then by the end of it, it's so many people in so many places. Yeah, but you're slowly eased into it. So this series so far is a bit like that. You get a slow ease into more characters' POVs. Love it. However, there were parts of the new POVs, as it were, that had me confused, because they don't actually follow the same timeline, because apparently they're kind of in the past. And I was a bit confused about it in the beginning. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Where, when, and where are we? Not just where are we, when are we? I mean, I love a mystery, but also I don't like being that confused. I like, no, whoa, this is different lighting, okay. I like understanding where I am, when I am. I don't want to be this confused. So yeah, that wasn't a very good note. However, the let's say past POVs entries, as it were, they were very interesting and had well, they gave this whole backstory that you don't understand to begin with, but you do as time goes on, I suppose. And when you finally understand what's going on by the end of the book, you kind of put those pieces together and it all kind of makes sense. But I didn't like being confused when I was reading it, and yeah, I could have needed more guidance, as it were. Yeah, I still think it's quite slow. It's very much a characters sitting in a room having a cup of coffee and chatting. It's that kind of bit. It's not more, I feel it's more like dialogue than it is like scenery. I need to sneeze. Oh my goodness, I don't like sneezing. It makes me dizzy. Okay, I'm still kind of liking it. It is maybe slower than I would like, but I mean, it's not like standing still slow. We are moving forward. It was just that I think I want more action scenes in a book like this, and it may be a little bit lacking. But still, very interesting. I really like her writing, so now I really want to pick up the other books, which I cannot remember what they call. The Ash King, I don't know, Swan Song. That's not the one. Anyway, I'm gonna go read book number 3 because that one needs to go to the library in like 3 days time. So yeah, I'm gonna read. I'm gonna go read. Honestly, I will finish it. I just don't like having that time pressure limit because that's what makes me not want to read it. It's very bad. Library system and me, we don't connect. Anyway, not the point. Bye. Mother of Death and Dawn. Book number 3 and the last book in what's it called? The War of Lost Hearts series. Did I just move the camera? Possibly. This book is a chunky book. It weighs heavy. Oh, I could keep it on my shoulder. Perfect. So, I don't know how much to actually say about this book to keep this little vlog as spoiler free as possible, because I think I've done it so far. Probably not. Honestly, I accidentally spoil things all the time, and then I don't actually understand, and I'm joking. So, where to begin? Honestly, I think I just need to kind of summarize my thoughts about the series and put this book down on the table because it's very heavy. Okay, it's very heavy, and the corners are actually sticking into my shoulder. Anyway, I finished the series and now I'm putting this book down. So, how to best summarize this whole thing. So book number 3 kind of follows the same kind of deal as book 1 and 2, as in it's slow, but also there's so much more happening. So in book 1 we have like the whole backstory, more or less. We have the start of everything. So we start with Tasana, and then Max comes in by the end. Well, he comes in a bit earlier, but his own POV comes a bit towards the end of the book. So then we get that whole, I don't know, I'm getting like baking analogies. So we'll get the whole dough that we've kneaded up. And then we have book 2, which enters more characters' POVs. And we sort of get a backstory to the backstory, as it were. So there's this, like, we get in book 1. So there's this weapon to help win the war, as it were. And it's kind of not something anyone can use or have the ability to hold on to. I'm not sure how to explain it best, because basically what it is, it's a entity that will enter you. It's a whole different person, as it were. So Tisana is the one that actually gets this thing, this other person, this weapon. And we sort of get the backstory of it all. And we later find out as well that Max has had this weapon before, which is why he's taken to staying outside of the order, as it were. That's as spoilery as I want to go. But then we find out, like in book 2, I have Tom right here and he's knocking things down. In book 2, we kind of find out more about this entity and that person that it used to be and the person it kind of is now. And the person, the people it's been. This is very complicated in my brain right now. So we get a whole big story that's just a big ball, a big ball. And it's very hard to explain without spoiling it. Let me tell you that. And then book 3 kind of rounds everything up and we get a conclusion. So, that was a lot. So the whole series is maybe a bit too slow for me. I think for someone else it would be like the perfect speed, or it could also be too fast. I guess it kind of depends on what kind of reader you are and what kind of like mood setting you're in. That goes for everything, but this one in particular, because we were talking about this one right now. What else did I want to say? So I liked that, just as with Throne of Glass, I mentioned this series because it's actually mentioned that fans of Sarah J Maas will love this series as well. So, like with Throne of Glass, we get that one character to begin with. We have Tasana only for the majority of the book, and then we have Max entering with his POV. Now, we've met Max through Tasana, so we kind of know him. So when he enters the picture with his POV, it feels just very natural. And the same goes for the new characters, as it were, the new POVs that's entering in book number 2. We get that kind of, because we've been introduced to them before, when we get those new perspectives, it just feels natural. So I liked the way that whole thing was built up, because otherwise I feel like multiple POVs can be confusing, because you're just kind of smacked in the head with them and they just pop up out of nowhere. And I know I have this problem a lot, because I don't like when there's so many different characters and they're in so many different places, and sometimes even in different times. Yes. And it gets so confusing when you're trying to piece together everything, that it just gets too big for your brain to handle. And the third and final thing I want to mention about this series is that if you're one of those people who likes the what happened after, as in how they lived after everything was won, the war was won, as it were, you're gonna love the ending of this book, this series, because you get a whole what happened after. I didn't necessarily think I needed it, but I did think it was very cute, and probably had it not been there, I would have been like, but what happens next? What happens next? And we get that whole finality of it when we get that what happened after bit. So the epilogue, yes. Yeah, that was this series. I do hope I can get her other series. All of the books are grey-ish, so these are kind of like black and red. Interesting. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I shall see you all next time. Have you read this series? Have you read the other series that I can't remember what the name of the thing is? Let me know. And I shall see you all next time. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.